Hello out there in social media world. My name is Jacinta, and for those who follow me on social medias, I have my handle is Trekking for Teal. And here it's February in Australia, February 2024, and I'm learning all about making a recording. And the only reason I'm doing it is because it's Ovarian Cancer Awareness Month. And my dear, dear friend, Gill Stannard, and huge inspiration, has agreed to be interviewed. So please be tolerant of the little bit of amateur technology here. Now, Gill is a naturopath, a mentor. She is, all in all, a wonderful person, but I'm interviewing her today. Oh, she's a consumer researcher with me on quite a lot of consumer ovarian cancer projects. And today, I really wanted to speak with her about what it's like to be a 10-year survivor of ovarian cancer. For someone like me, who was diagnosed, had a terrible prognosis, the sense of hope is so tremendous for those of us who are newly diagnosed, that yes, you can survive. So, Gill, could you tell us a little bit about your diagnosis? It's for those people who don't know, survival for ovarian cancer is still less than 50% in Australia. So to have someone like Gill in our group, it's just such a gift. So over to you.
So I was diagnosed in October 2013, and back then I think the survival rate was 46%. So we've actually gained 4% in 10 years, and I think we're going to edge up a bit more soon. But you know, my story was I actually knew about ovarian cancer and the signs and symptoms because I'd had a client that I was convinced had to get tested and had to badger her for a while. So I just didn't, when my belly stuck out, looked like I was 6 months pregnant, and I definitely wasn't, then I knew something was wrong. My back hurt, but I just had a really bad respiratory infection, and I'd thrown my scoliosis out. Everything could be explained except for the belly, which was a belly full of ascites. And I couldn't get to see my GP that day, but I got somebody else who was experienced woman, my age, newer stuff, and she said, yeah, you're right, this isn't right. I've done an internal. I can feel something that feels like, quote unquote, a very large ovarian cyst. Keep the patient calm. So I'm thinking, oh no, I've got to find time for it. And it's like, and I'm just writing you a referral to take to, this is in Melbourne, to the women's emergency department. And I was like, oh my God, you know, I was diagnosed within a couple of hours. It took a couple of hours to get the CA125 blood test back. And for me, it was very accurate. I was like 1300. It was extremely raised. I think top of normal is 30, 35. So it was way through the roof. And I was diagnosed on that day. But I saw the GP, went to emergency, sent home on a Friday afternoon saying, go home, we'll call you on Monday morning to come in for an ultrasound. That was it. You know, you've got ovarian cancer, go home. But I was very, very lucky because I did actually end up getting an MRI the next week, and I was hospitalised early because I was dehydrated by then. It hurt to eat and drink. You know, that's often a symptom that we're told about, but that developed over the weekend. And my MRI put me at stage 3. So I was just in, you know, I know how this plays out. But 10 years ago, there was no good story. Nothing. But after surgery, which I had surgery first, it took ages to get the results, the histopathology, and they came back and they said, we've taken so long because we've had second and third opinions. You're 1C. We cannot find that spread in the momentum and the lymph. But you do have it in your washing, so you're having chemo, you know. Yes. So, yeah, there weren't many examples of hope. All the friendships that I made were with people who were high stage 3 or low stage 4. Unfortunately, that cohort that I met are no longer with us. They fell perfectly within the statistics of the time, unfortunately. But it really hit me with Jacinta and a few other Sydney-based or New South Wales-based survivors, how that story is changing. I was just remarking that we have women across all stages who have thrown that 5-year survival out, and you're getting many more long-term survivors, which is fantastic.
Yes.
We're not everybody, but we're getting more stories of hope. So I don't feel as lonely.
And I think, Jill, you and I were talking before about how important, how precious it is when you're newly diagnosed with such a terrible diagnosis, to meet people such as yourself and certainly the local Sydney community. Another friend of ours, Kristen, actually came and visited me. There's no official, there's no work in, that's not paid. People just reach out. Jill, you and I met on as part of a small group, and now we've expanded that group ourselves. And for us to have women such as yourself as living proof that yes, this
but also my guilt kicks in here. I go, but I was only a 1C. I should, my stats were different when I finally got to 3 years and realized actually they did get it right, because it was that lurking suspicion that the MRI was right. The machine that goes ping is going to be more reliable than people. But
how is that for you? Because over the years you have lost. I mean, I have lost beautiful women that I have met through this, but for you, you've had time to make very deep friendships all over the world. And so
it's really interesting because when I was first diagnosed, I didn't have organised community, and I don't think I identified with it. Can I just say, ironically, at some point in the 90s, as a naturopath, I got asked to speak at the gynae cancer group at the Royal Women's, which later became my treatment hospital, and it was a small group of women with ovarian cancer, and I'm kind of telling them about how to, what needs to get through chemo, whatever. And I just thought back and laugh and kind of go, that's ironic, isn't it? but in those early years, it really, I didn't find a local tribe, but I had somebody who reached out to me who was also a naturopath, who read my newsletter and saw that I had ovarian cancer and said, hey, I'm in England at the moment. I used to live in Sydney, but I'm in England. I'm a naturopath. I've got ovarian cancer too. And in fact, there were 3 of us who were diagnosed in different parts of the world at that time. And I was all kind of looking around going, my goodness, what's happening? I had a client recently who said to me, I don't know whether I should feel okay about making friends with other people with ovarian cancer because they might die on me. And I've just gone through an experience of getting close to someone online, and they have. But I really want to say that my beautiful online friendship with Elaine back in the early days, she did unfortunately not survive, but I do never regret that friendship was my online email support chemo buddy going, we're 2 naturopaths in the chemo room. Isn't this bizarre on other sides of the world? That's, I think, I think finding your tribe for any health condition. You might try your first avenue to find a tribe and you don't gel. You might be 35 with ovarian cancer, and the groups that you find, everyone's over 55 or 60, and that you just keep looking, because I think it's really important to find your tribe, even if it's one person, because although your experiences are unique, they're commonalities, and to know that you're not alone, and then also not alone, and that meeting more and more people who do survive is really, really important.
Thank you for that. It isn't a message of hope, isn't it? It is. We have to be honest, it is a terrible diagnosis. It is still the most lethal of the women's cancers. In Australia, we are not yet at a 5-year survival of 50%. Like you, Jill, I think probably the next lot of statistics will show that we are. But it's been a hard slog. And when we say 5-year survival, that's for all stages. 5 years, it's very tough if you're diagnosed at stage 4 or the late stage 3s. We're not anywhere near 50% survival. And, this is Australia. We're a first world country. I think absolutely we can do this. And you know, you are a very active consumer researcher, and I so appreciate and thank you that you've taken me into that world with you as well. And we work with such tremendous researchers who are absolutely at the forefront of saving women's lives. So
Yeah.
there is also always hope. There's hope in the community. There's hope in the medical realm. I know quite a few of us meet with politicians at different times, and I think there's a lot of goodwill there as well. So yeah, in this February 2024, there's hope for everyone. And hopefully we'll look back and think, ovarian cancer, nah, easy peasy. Not there yet, but maybe in our
Soon.
lifetimes. Soon.
It will be in our lifetime. Being party to witnessing what some of these researchers are doing, it will be our lifetime.
It's amazing, isn't it? You know, I was so distressed. I thought I would never meet my grandchildren, which I didn't have at that time, but there will be one coming in August. And I think, well, that's my first tick box. It will be achieved.
Yeah.
And as always, Gill, an inspiration to, you know, to us all. And thank you for the work, the commitment, the time, the intelligence you bring to your role. So thank you. Now, Gill, I don't know if people are more interested in following you. I can't remember what your social media connection is.
Okay, on Instagram, I'm Herbal Gill. I'm Gill with a Gill, just to confuse things. And I'm very Googleable, Gill Stannard. There's only one of, there's really only one of me.
There is only one. There is only one. And for mine, it's Trekking for Teal. I hope that, feel free to follow us. Feel free to find out more about ovarian cancer, because, you know, the life you save may be someone you love, may be your own. Thanks again, Gill. Talk soon.
Thank you.